Hey friends, welcome back again to Non-Toxic Home. You wouldn't know it, but it's actually been quite some time since I've recorded a Bible study. It was a difficult winter for me medically, which I've actually got a video post up about that I thought it would be. It wasn't how I thought it would be difficult, but it certainly was. And the spring thus far has been difficult as well, but not as difficult as in certain times of my life, of course. If you've read my book, Poison, Veiled by Western Medicine, Modern Construction, Corporate Interests. Can't complain. So, I am now 100% certain in regards to my conclusions regarding where we are at in prophecy. I was close to 100%. Now I'm 100%. I'm going to share the highlights of my studies in why I've drawn that conclusion now. A lot of it has to do with Greek verb tense. So for the tools that I use daily, I use more tools, but the tools that I use daily, please see the link below, my Bible study tools. I'm gradually learning Greek and Hebrew, not how to speak it, because I don't really care. That's not important to me. I just want to know what it means. And an interlinear Bible is very helpful for that. So if you want to know what tools I use to come to my conclusions, please see below. I study hours a day. You're not going to go from being on 75 pills of Pharmakeia every day for years and having heavy metals put in your body from testing and all of these other sorts of things to being cured, especially when there are some things that I can't address. Even if we had $1 zillion, well, okay, if we had $1 zillion, we would be able to build our own little facility to deal with the mercury in my teeth and some other things. But, even if we had, let's say, $1 million, there's some things that I probably wouldn't be able to address still. So, and we live very frugally. So, I have recorded in the Olivet Discourse about 6 or so videos. This video trumps those videos because I've studied more since then. I study hours a day. I study the original languages because the English translations get some things wrong. Literal translations are definitely better, for sure. I'm definitely 100% certain. I am 100% certain about the first seal now, for more than one reason. I don't actually require the second seal to be open now for me to come to the conclusion that I'm 100% certain about the first seal now. We have an old series from 2020 or 2021 on the Strong Delusion. I believe I have the playlist on Odyssey, which I'll link to below. And I have studied the Strong Delusion more. That is one factor. Okay, there are, in the passage on the Strong Delusion, there's actually a decent amount of mistranslation, and there's a lot more information in the Greek on the Strong Delusion. And it actually, two words Strong Delusion, both words are actually nouns. Yeah, right? Both nouns. So a more accurate translation would be operation of error or working of deception. Right? Operation of deception. Gee, that's something, isn't it? Yeah. Crazy, right? Maybe I'll share that at some point. I don't know why God grants me this information because I'm just so behind in sharing everything, but that's what it is. Doing what I can. This is not a 7-year sprint. Yes, it seems that there's a section at the end of 7 years. Read Deuteronomy 2. Study 7, 10, 20, 30, 40, 60, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, and 120 in the Bible. I did. You should too. So this is less than 40 years, I think. It could be 40 years, but I believe it's less than 40 years. I think we're going to get 2 years of credit, like the Israelites had. We'll see. Daniel, you got to be really, really careful about taking verses from Daniel and applying them, because Daniel tells us multiple times that it's still sealed. when Daniel and John, as the two witnesses, come and preach, then we'll know more then. That's a ways out. I don't anticipate being here then. So as I mentioned previously, there are some reasons why I am indeed certain that the first seal has been opened, that we are indeed in the beginning of sorrows. We're not in the great tribulation portion yet. That's at the end. We got a ways to go before we get to that. So if you're wondering if my thoughts on when the second seal will be opened have deepened, well, yes, of course. We are definitely in the "you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars" phase. I've got a video up on that. You should be able to scroll down. It wasn't that long ago that I posted it. And it could be 2027, could be 2030 before it's open, because this is like a woman in travail. So you have the first birth pain, and then there's a while sometimes before you have that second birth pain. And it's got to be worldwide. If civil war erupts in the United States, that doesn't mean the second seal's been open. If you get the whole Middle East thing, if something happens over there, and it actually is happening, and they're not just, using videos from 1990s movies to say that things are happening, then that doesn't mean the second seal's been open. So there's that. Please get your Bible out and turn to Revelation chapter 6, verse 2. Conquering here. All right. "And I saw, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer." Now, we've got over 100 Bible studies, video Bible studies posted. Please review them. We've got multiple videos on the first seal. We've got multiple videos examining Pharmakeia. We've got a series, Pharmakeia Revealed. We've got videos on the precursors that we're seeing everywhere. I mean, we've got tons of prophecy videos up on that, so please go review them. Conquering here. "He went forth conquering and to conquer." Conquering here is a present active participle. This is continuous, repeated action. Conquering continually. Conquering repeatedly. So since March of 2020, there's been this repeated action of the first seal rider. And remember who sends out that first seal rider. Remember who opens the seals, right? A, destruction of the financial order, which must needs come to pass in order to fully set up the beast financial system. I'm pouring my tea here in case you're wondering what I'm doing. B, Pharmakeia. There have been repeated fears of outbreaks. Bird flu has been on the news a lot ever since it first came out in 2021 here in Indiana, allegedly, and all those things. So I am subscribed to the state veterinary board here to get alerts when there's something regarding it in the state, because I need to know, because I can't have people on my property here testing my birds or anything. So I would have to they'd have to go if there's ever some sort of order on that. And no, you can't hide having chickens. It does, even if they're inside, you can't hide that. They know the state veterinary board information that came out, they said, oh, we've got the surveillance zone. It's literally the phrase that they use, surveillance zone, within 5 miles or whatever. They use kilometers, which is weird because we're in the U.S., but within 5 kilometers or whatever of the affected animal factory. And we've already contacted the backyard chicken owners. How do you know? Because we're one of the most surveilled societies that exists. So no, you can't hide that. Can't hide having animals. Can't hide anything. We're out in the middle of nowhere. There's no 5G here. Well, you know what I mean. They're up there. They're balloons. And they fry me to pieces. So, Pharmakeia, bird flu, disease X, there have been repeated fears of outbreaks, constant advertisements from Pharmakeia. I used to work in mental health, And it was well known that you did not advertise to consumers because that's, there's so many pros and cons of medications and, adverse side effects and those sorts of things. And, you never advertise directly to consumers. All right, that's changed, didn't it? Hasn't it? C. So a synonym of conquering is to control. In a lot of the literal translations, instead of conquering, it says overcoming and to overcome. So instead of conquering and to conquer, it says overcoming and to overcome. But a synonym of this is control. Yeah, power grabs on everything, but especially on people. Okay, so if you have not viewed our mind-controlled robotic zombies in the Beginning of Sorrows series, please do so. There is actually more evidence that I've come across in scripture that I probably won't share because, there's plenty just in that series, just in the Olivet Discourse and such. But I was just studying this morning in Isaiah, either Isaiah 5, 6, 7, or 8, where it says, and Christ actually refers to this passage where it says that, you'll hear, but you won't understand or perceive. You'll see, but you won't know, or something like that along those lines. So people are blind and deaf. And it's even worse now. But people are definitely mind controlled. Some days Dave will send out a text or an email to, say, 15 people. And either everyone responds or no one responds. And sometimes it will be the exact same text or email that he sent previously. For example, I have to change my mowing to Friday. Hopefully that's all right. Something like that. And either everyone responds or no one responds. So weird. So weird. So in March of 2020, 5G really rolled out. Of course, we've got people who are microchipping themselves. Please see my microwave sickness article. It's the fulfillment of prophecy. Go to our website, search microwave sickness. By the way, if you feel led to help share in the burden of expenses for this ministry of sharing this information online, people have come to the Lord because of the information that I share on chemicals and furniture and building materials and all those sorts of things, which was the intention. And I might need to look at cutting. I've actually am looking at cutting those associated costs because it's not cheap. And people are being told to DIY this year, which means that over half of our Dave's local business is just gone. That was a hard day for him, poor guy. But yeah, so if you can help share in the burden of those expenses, we appreciate it. I know we've got affiliate links and stuff, but that doesn't actually cover all of the costs. We've got a support us page below with all those sorts of things. If you can't, then please share this. Regardless, please share this because all of the platforms hate this information. So we've got all of the mind control aspect. There are more towers. There are more dirigibles being sent up continuously because it's the continual action of the first seal rider. Okay? The repeated action of the first seal rider. The frequency of the land/earth is continuously worsening. So let's review with the continuous action. A, destruction of the financial order, which must needs come to pass. B, Pharmakeia, repeated. C, the control, especially of the brain, of people's brains, because the brain it controls the reins. It controls what you do. D, that's why we're told to have sound mind of Christ. Put on the mind of Christ. And D, we've got 2020 was all fear, repeatedly fear. And since then, the fear just has really ramped up. You guys, I'm sure, saw about the eclipse stuff because it's so scary, those sorts of things. We just saw some weird stuff in regards to that. For example, they're spraying before, And then there was a plane flying during, real close. And then the eclipse itself, it's like, so the moon, you can see the moon, and the moon goes in front of the sun. And who knows if those are real or anything or whatever. I don't know. I don't care. But it went in front of the sun, and then it just paused. It's like God went, or a person, if it's fake, went pause, and it just sat there. And then it was as though it was a theater or a projection in the sky, and it went, okay, we're done. Exit stage left. It literally, it was just like it paused. It was so weird. So weird. Anyways. But there's a lot of fear about that. And there's fear about everything. Fear about Israel. Fear about Palestine. Fear about fear. Russia, China. Fear money. Fear. Fear is enslavement. Fear hath torment. Direct quote from the Bible. Fear is judgment. Okay, so fear is God's judgment. So those who are living in fear are literally being judged right now. That's part of their judgment. Because they have forsaken the Lord. Just, you should go listen to the video on my video on the eclipse thing, because it was a cause for disaster preparation or cause for disaster declaration here in my state for preparedness. And in that video, I read through the disaster declaration for preparedness. More of the continual conquering, subduing action, overcoming action. So people have been overcome. Repeatedly, industries are being consolidated, conquered, subdued. Consolidation of power must needs come to pass, so that at the end the Lord can go, here's all the power of the world right here, concentrated. And that power does not it cannot compete with the power of the living God, of our Creator. So he just flicks it like a bug. Will flick it like a bug. So we've got this conquering, consolidation, subduing of the food system. We've got livestock, constant livestock issues in the news. Farmers in Europe protesting. Food prices, of course, increasing. The engineered famine is the judgment of the living God. God uses these wicked men for his purposes. They're just pawns, like Pharaoh. That's it. I'll try to remember to link below to my foraging book post. If not, go to our website and search for foraging. Eat the weeds, not the bugs. Weeds are very high in micronutrients. They're very nutritious, and they thrive. They're thriving regardless of the crazy weather. I'm sure there's more repeated action regarding the conquering and overcoming the systems and people of the world, but let's move on, because I think we've done a pretty good job of establishing that. But again, that conquering is repeated action. Now, number two. So number one of the reasons and why I've drawn this conclusion is the verb tense of the word conquering in the Greek. Number two, part of conquering is divide and conquer. So race wars, I mean, people are divided about everything. Either you're pro-Israel or anti-Israel. Either you're pro or anti-everything. Oh, you ist. If you don't, like, if you seriously don't have an opinion about something, then you get called an ist. I haven't done the research. I don't have an opinion about it. I'm not an ist just because I, am actually logical and drawing conclusions. I don't draw conclusions about things that I don't know about. You ist. Gender wars. Oh, you're either pro or anti, and okay, well. Oh, and if you say, God had a design, and you're anti-evil-ister. All right, number 3, we've got Luke chapter 21. Verse 28. All right, and this is part of the Olivet Discourse in Luke. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. So, if you haven't read Luke 21 yet, I encourage you to please do so. Read it in context. Clearly, there's a whole lot that has to happen before the Lord returns. And in verse 27, we see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. Right, so there's a whole lot that has to happen before we expect Christ to return tomorrow. He's not coming tomorrow. Read your Bible. People are so enslaved by those false prophets. So enslaved. Christ does not return until hell literally rides through the earth. Okay? That's the fourth seal. Hell literally rides through the earth. Or figuratively, whatever. Hell rides through the earth, according to the Bible. That's a ways before Christ even comes. Alright, so please see our study on the fifth seal, Rest Yet for a Little Season. I think that's actually on that website. In the fourth seal, we've got 25% of people who die. Previously, I wasn't certain whether it was just... whether that 25% included the first, second, and third seal, or whether it was just in the fourth seal. I'm not 100% still on that, but I think I'm about 85% certain that 25% only relates to the fourth seal, which means that there's a lot of people yet to die in the first, second, and third seal who will not be included in that 1/4 of humanity living today. But I'm not 100%. In the second seal, we have great or megas swords, so there's going to be a whole lot of death. But it doesn't disclose how much. In the after the sixth seal, we have the great multitude of martyrs, of course. That's what we expect in the beginning of sorrows. We don't expect Christ to return in the beginning of sorrows. Behold, I have told you all things. He says, straight up quote from my Lord and Master, behold, I have told you all things. And then, take heed that ye be not deceived. That the end is not by and by. Be not terrified. Don't be frightened, disturbed. The end is not by and by. That's right at the beginning, he says that, of the Olivet Discourse. So right now, we've got so many false prophets saying, well, Jesus is about to come. Jesus is about to come. He's almost here. Get rapture ready. Oh, I wish people would just study hard. Study the Textus Receptus Greek. Not so much the Hebrew in regards to that, but it's some Hebrew. Study in context. Got a link to my tools and my personal qualifications before drawing conclusions based on Scripture. That link below. So these are the things we expect. These things have been occurring continuously, repeatedly. So here, and when these things begin to come to pass, when these things begin to happen, begin means begin, when these things begin to happen, come to pass or to happen, that is continuous, repeated action. We have seen these things repeatedly, continually happening. Okay? We have seen all of this repeated, continual action of the first seal writer. We've seen all this continual, repeated action of the hearing of wars and commotions, instability, tumult, uncertainty of residence, confusion, disorder, things being unsettled. That's been a continual, repeated action. When these things begin to repeatedly, continually happen, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. Yes, it draweth nigh in comparison to previous generations, but it's not tomorrow. Behold, I have told you all things. The end is not by and by. The end is not immediately. All right. Number 4, we have another example in... All right, so that continual and repeated action, by the way, in the Greek is present is a present infinitive middle tense. We also have in Matthew 24:6. Please turn yourself. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. I've actually sort of skipped ahead accidentally, didn't I? See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Hearing of wars and rumors of wars. And this wars includes the whole course of hostility. So information wars. What is it? Sun Tzu's Art of War, I think it. Which says, well, you got to start with lying to people, basically. First, you got to deceive. So information wars, of course, everything's a lie. And I've said that for years. But especially when it comes to spiritual things, everything's a lie. Little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. Food wars. Israel. I have a video study on where is Israel? Where is Jerusalem? Where is that it? That should be up soon. And also, and I think a couple studies later, I have one on do we really need to be paying attention to Israel and Jerusalem in regards to the end times? So that's something to consider as well. So, I'm sure that just everything's a lie. But this whole course of hostilities includes, food wars, civil wars, water wars, race wars, Ukraine, I don't even know, Ooh, oh, it's a lightning bug. Lightning bug, get off of my book, please. Thank you. Oh, I didn't mean to hurt you. I just want you to go away. Thank you. This hearing of wars and rumors of wars. Let's see. Present infinitive active. All right, present infinitive active. The hearing is continuous repeated action. Yeah, you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. We are continually, repeatedly hearing of wars and rumors of wars. Remember, that includes the whole host of hostilities. That's where we're at. That is where we're at. See that ye be not troubled. Don't be disturbed, agitated, upset, for all must come to pass, but the end is not yet. I think it's in Isaiah where it actually says that people are going to be shouting, conspiracy, conspiracy, conspiracy. And we're not supposed to be going after that. It said, fear not their fear. Isn't that amazing? Conspiracy theories in the Bible. You crackpot conspiracy theorists reading the Bible. Now that's in text 1, number 5. You might be surprised. This might be something that you say, what? Chemtrails. This has been repeated action, and this has been across the world, including in third world countries, which, almost constant, but it's definitely repeated action. Many issues today are clearly worldwide, and you note that I don't use the word global because I have read the Bible and I've read rocket science as well, and they actually agree. There's a reason why we're told that rocket science is super hard to understand, because they don't want us to read it. There's actually a decent number of scriptures that describe chemtrails as part of God's judgment, believe it or not. I come across them every so often. If you examine the Hebrew and know a little bit about chemtrails and what's in them. Yeah. Came across another one recently, which I'll try to share at some point. Number 6 here, we've got related to the last discussion. This is worldwide judgment. Okay, so this isn't just judgment of the United States. This isn't just judgment of Israel or anything. Things will be harder for those such as us in the United States who have failed in our duties to the Lord. We choose to go golfing, or play badminton, or read literature, do all of these sorts of things rather than study the Bible. And to whom much is given, much is required. And there's a lot expected of us, and we, as Western society, have failed. Those in third world countries will suffer along with us, of course, along with Western society. But the judgment is going to be very harsh. All right. So again, this is a worldwide issue. When the major things occur, they'll always be worldwide. So the second seal, the third seal, the fourth seal, the sixth seal, the trumpets, etc., etc., etc. That's all going to be worldwide. Matthew 24, verse 3. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming, and of the end of the world? I think coming, if I remember right, I think that's parousia. The end of the world. So, the end of the world. This is the end of the age. There were a lot of truthers and New Agers who have the best chances of coming to the Lord in this time, in my personal opinion. In 2020, who said this is the end of the age. This is the end of the eon. In Greek, that word age, let me look here. Be not troubled. Where is that at? End of the age. Yeah, so now, okay, yeah, that's eon. A-I-O-N in English. That eon means age. And they were correct. This is the end of the age. This age is ending. It's going into the New World Order, and then Christ will return. And then we'll have a 1,000-year reign, and then Judgment Day, and then we'll have our reward, New Jerusalem. My reward is not heaven. Number 7, deception is even more rampant. Okay, Matthew 24, 4 through 5, and Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. But this includes not just saying that they are Christ, but this is particularly in regards to deception of claiming to be speaking on his behalf, and just spreading false doctrine willy-nilly. Some do it knowingly, some unintentionally. Some are straight up deceivers, some are just deceived. Evil men and seducers will wax worse and worse, according to Scripture. This isn't necessarily indicative of the last... I hate you, tick. I hate ticks. Ticks seriously have no purpose in creation that I am aware of. Right, lightning bug? We already had this discussion earlier. I like lightning bugs, but I don't want you on me, okay? Just need you to go somewhere else. That's all. Can you... Thank you. Okay. Sorry. Creation can be distracting. The deception, not necessarily indicative of the less than 40, now an ant, less than 40 years before Christ returns. But this is highly relevant. Okay. Anyways, sorry about that. Very distracting. I apologize. Number 8, I think this is the last bullet point. Yes, last bullet point. This also might surprise you. Illegal immigration. What? If you study the Old Testament prophets, and there's another bug. I don't even know what you are. Bugs are going to be bad this year, by the way, I think, because of the winter that we had, or didn't have. Illegal immigration in most Western countries, in Europe, in the US, Canada, the countries that have had it easy for a while. The stranger within. The stranger in the Old Testament. Those are foreigners. That's what that word means. It means foreigner. God uses these people in judgment. If you study the Old Testament, he uses foreigners in judgment. He uses uses all sorts of people in judgment. He's using all of the United Nations people. He's using the World Health Organization people and World Economic Forum people. He uses these people to enact his judgment. He spoke to the prophets. God spoke to the prophets about the strangers or foreigners or immigrants, illegal immigrants. He spoke to the prophets about them and how they'd speak a different language as well. We wouldn't understand what they said. I anticipate that those people will be instrumental in the second seal. It'd be one thing if it was just in the United States because, you know, we don't want to be ethnocentric or anything. Even though most people in the U.S. are. And they think that their cult of is really just so righteous. And we should just take it and spread it all over the world. Because that's what we do. We spread our wickedness all over the world. The illegal immigration part, that's just very recent that I put that together in the Old Testament prophecy. Isn't that just interesting? So interesting. I mean, I'm pretty careful in not jumping to conclusions, I think. It's been over 4 years since I believe the first seal has been opened, and it's just now that it may have been March when I realized. So it took about 4 years for me to be certain. And now I am. And a lot of it has to do with the verb tenses. That took me from 99.9% to 100%. So again, look at my tools below. I studied the Hebrew and Greek. Study the Hebrew and Greek yourself. No fear. And no fear here. Because fear hath torment. Abide in him. Obey him. Go study. Non-toxic out.